History lost, decks past, but in this series, we revisit older decks to see if they can be brought back to the forefront of the meta. We'll break down what made these decks great, what no longer holds up, and how modern builds can give them new life. By exploring different variants and tech choices, we'll tune each deck to fit different playstyles. Let's see if these classics still have what it takes for meta teching. What's up, guys? My name is TechnoTuner, and we're back again with another episode of Meta Teching. For those players that are looking for a way to play chess or that whole mind game mathematical board state of the game of chess, we have a new deck called Angelechy. This is a chess-based archetype where the whole aim of the game is get the pawn to your opponent's side of the board and then utilize it to go into getting your king, rook, and knight into the back row outside of other cards, as the queen and bishop have yet to be added. But each of these cards have fun effects and further capability to allow you to play and board break your opponent or burn them to death. You do have further options to mix with this deck, as, well, most of the monsters are extra deck. There isn't a single Angelechy card that is a monster that comes into the main deck for play. So this allows further options to be able to be played, such as Branded, Snake Eyes, White Forest, etc. Basically giving you the options to further make the deck more malleable, but it offers up a lot of other options as well to enable for OTK capabilities, or FTK capabilities, as you will see in our first deck build. As this deck is a lot of fun, does offer up a lot of good options for you to further play, I do recommend taking some time to invest into this deck and just trying to learn a little bit more about it. As this deck, I see it's going to be more of a rogue, if not option for the deck, whether it be Genesis or not, for you to learn how to play it. It best gets you prepared as to what will be happening with this deck. All right, enough of me talking. Let's go ahead and hop right in to our actual first deck profile of the most pure version, which can enable a FTK. All right, so hopping right into it, our pure Angelechy deck offers up a lot of good capabilities here. We're basically going to be utilizing the branded engine along with Summoner Monks to get out our incredible Ecclesia the Virtuous to allow us to go into some level 8 synchro plays. This is going to get us into our Glitch Clutch Null Gainer. If this card is synchro summon, you can add one level 8 or higher monster with 0 attack from your deck to your hand. You can target one monster with 0 attack in your graveyard, special summon it, but negates effects. Also cannot be used as material for a fusion, synchro, xyz, or link summon. You can only use each effect of Glitch Clutch Null Gainer once per turn. So this is basically a great way to allow us to get into Witness of the Ancient. If you have a synchro monster in your field or graveyard, you can special summon this card from your hand. If this card is special summon, you can place up to 3 synchro monsters with different names from your extra deck and or graveyard in your spell and trap zone as face-up continuous spells. And special summon 1 Arc token, Machine, Light Attack, 0, Defense 0, with a level equal to the number placed. Also, for the rest of this turn, you cannot special summon from the extra deck except synchro monsters. You can only use each effect of Witness of the Ancient once per turn. This is perfectly great because this gives us further capability to place in our back row our Angelechy Bastion. You can target one other card in this card's column, banish it. If this card is placed in the spell and trap zone as a continuous spell, you can place one Angelechy Shatranga from your extra deck in your spell and trap zone as a face-up continuous spell. You can only use each of the preceding effects of Angelechy Bastion once per turn. While this card is treated as a continuous spell, all other Angelechy cards on the field cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects, which offers up to Angelechy Destrier. You can target one monster in another column and banish it. If this card is placed in the spell and trap zone as a continuous spell, you can add one Angelechy spell from your deck to your hand. You can only use each of the preceding effects of Angelechy Destrier once per turn. While this card is a continuous spell, each time your opponent activates a card or effect, inflict 500 damage to your opponent when it resolves. So once their effect resolves, you inflict 500 damage to them, so it's a continuous burn that can further hurt your opponent. We have Angelechy Enlisted, which is our pawn. You can target one opponent's monster in this card's adjacent column, banish it, then change control of this card by moving it to one of your opponent's main monster zones in this card's adjacent columns. If the control of this face-up card changes, return this card to the extra deck. Then, the owner of this card special summons one Angelechy monster from their extra deck. You can only use each effect of Angelechy enlisted once per turn. So this is a great way. It gets us into our Rook. Our Rook gets us our King, which is Angelechy Shatranga. You can target one monster your opponent controls, banish it. If this card is placed in a spell and trap zone as a continuous spell, you can add one Angelechy trap from your deck to your hand, or deck or graveyard to your hand. You can only use each effect of the preceding effects of Angelechy Shatranga once per turn. While this card is treated as a continuous spell, your opponent can only attempt to activate up to 5 monster effects per turn, so further locking your opponent from being able to really utilize their actual effects for their monsters, which can slow them down a lot. But we do have some spells and traps as well that work very well in this deck, which is Angelechy Problem. Once per turn, you can discard one spell or trap card, special summon level 2 Angelechy monster from your extra deck. And if you do, place one Angelechy monster from your extra deck to your spell and trap zone as a face-up continuous spell. If a face-up Angelechy monster card or cards you control is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can return one Angelechy monster card you own from your spell and trap zone to the extra deck, then you can special summon it. So giving you further capability to basically do a little bit of bouncing around, but gives you options to get your bodies back out on the board. As for one of their traps, we have Angelechy Disturbance. Give control of one Angelechy monster you control to your opponent until the end phase. Then if your opponent controls a face-up card or cards in its adjacent monster zones and or spell and trap zones, their effects are negated. You can banish this card from your graveyard, add one Angelechy spell or trap from your deck to your hand. Except Angelechy Disturbance. You can only use each effect of Angelechy Disturbance once per turn. Giving you further options as well, such as using Angelechy Opening to E4. If your opponent goes first, you can also activate this card from your hand during the standby phase of their first turn. Place one Angelechy Field spell from your hand, deck, or graveyard face up on the field, and if you do, special summon one level 2 or 7 Angelechy monster from your extra deck to that extra monster zone. If you do, place one Angelechy monster from your extra deck in your spell and trap zone as a face-up continuous spell until the end of your next turn. After this card resolves, you cannot special summon from the extra deck except synchro monsters. So, utilizing these cards, you have further options of being able to go into that. Now, do note that if you're placing cards in the back row, you have a way to set up a actual lock through either Bish Balkan, to where it cannot be synchro summon, must be special summon from your extra deck by sending 2 level 8 or higher monsters you control with the same level to the graveyard. 1 tuner and 1 non-tuner. Cannot be special summon by other ways. This card gains 1,000 attack for each monster on the field. Once per turn, during either player's main phase, you can special summon the same number of Uchazime tokens, Fiend, Dark level 1, attack 0, defense 0 on each player's field in defense position, so as to summon as many as possible. Also, this card cannot attack for the rest of this turn, which is perfectly fine. You have further capabilities as well. Now, do note that those tokens still can be utilized for tribute summoning and all that, but you do have options as well to give your opponent Beals of the Diabolic Dragons using Xian Spy. So basically you synchro summon using the Fallen of the White Dragon, go into Beals if you have the access. But if you do not have the access, there's no worries there, as you can utilize for Fragilis Harmonia plus a Drone Lockbird to go into it, as that's usually the more appropriate way of going into that. But you do have other options of going into Ecclesia, the Dark Dragon, as well. This allows us to basically summon out the Ecclesia or another monster as well that can further help us out. Now, if we are not utilizing the Beals Burn capability, we do have the Bish Balkan lock, where basically we're summoning a bunch of monsters to our opponent's board, where they have to deal with that until we can turn around and OTK them. Now, there are other cards in which we can utilize here instead of Xian Spy of handing them a Beals. We do have other options in running other cards as well. We do offer a lot of options here by utilizing nothing but hand traps, which is Infinite Impermanence, Ghost Spell, Ash Blossom Effect, Veiler, Droll Lock, Nibiru, Fragilis Harmonia. All of those are really good cards and really good staples. However, you may want to look towards utilizing some of your synchros to go into things such as Martial Metal Marcher. If this card is synchro summon, you can target one tuner in your graveyard, special summon it in defense position but negates effects. You can only use this effect of Martial Metal Marcher once per turn. A synchro monster that used this card as material is treated as a tuner while face up on the field, getting us into our Mind Castling. Mind Castling has the fun capability here of you can target one face up monster your opponent controls, switch control of that monster and this card. If this synchro summon card is sent to the graveyard, you can target one face-up monster on each field, switch control of those monsters. You can only use each effect of Mind Castling effect once per turn. So there's another option there as well to allow you to further board break and further set up other options. But do note, with the whole burn aspect of the night that you're looking to utilize, you're basically going to be burning your opponent for 500 for each effect that they activate, whether it be spell, trap, monster effect, etc. So we're going to be utilizing our Rook to keep the rest of our board protected, so we can further allow our opponent to be burned for as many effects as they activate. Now, is there a better way of going about this, getting beals and stuff? You could run a Blackwing engine, stuff like that, through Zephyros and Shura and all those. Those are all good options. However, we do have another way of playing these decks, which are going to be a little bit more fun than trying to FTK our opponent a lot more. So let's go ahead and hop into some of those. So starting off, we're playing Angelechy Snake Eye. Snake Eye offers a lot of capability here, being able to place monsters in your back row as face-up continuous spells, being able to utilize them and summon them back depending on what you're going to be utilizing them for. You have options through Diabellstar to get your Sinful Spoils stuff set up, such as being able to go into Wanted to search up the Divine Temple, but search up the Sinful Spoils of Subversion Snake Eye, basically allowing you to place a monster in the back row. You do have further options of being able to go into your Link Climb before you even start your Angelechy stuff, which can further help you out nonetheless. Being able to go into your Synchros as well, being able to force make the Angelechy enlisted using Jet Synchron plus a Snake Eye Ash, Poplar, or Oak can further help your plays as well. Now, do note you do have other options here as well to allow you to do other level 8s and other plays, such as with the Diabellstar plus the Jet Synchron, which can allow you to go into Omega or something else. But you do have other options within this deck as a whole, such as the Snake Eyes combo, which allows you to Link Climb into Raging Phoenix, Promethean Princess, and Blow Whale to further interact with your opponent through either shuffling back, bouncing, destroying, etc. It also allows for bigger monsters, further capabilities there nonetheless. Since we don't utilize a lot of our actual main deck, we can basically fit in our Snake Eye engine or our Snake Eye deck as a whole to get us further there. The other card that we can run as well is Snake Eyes Doom Dragon, to where we can send 2 of our Snake Eyes monsters in our back row, or any of the 2 monsters in our back row that are in our spell and trap zones to the graveyard, and special summon this, allowing us to place one of our opponent's monsters in the spell and trap zone as well, which can further hurt them a lot, or allowing us to recur back a monster we want in our back row as well. While this deck offers up a lot of good capability, we do have other cards as well, such as the Diabellstar Vengeance, which is basically pay half your life and target one card your opponent controls, destroy it. But we also have the Diabeals, which is basically allowing us to where monsters you control cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects while you control 2 or more Diabell monsters. So being able to get Diabeals and Diabellstar Vengeance and even Diabellstar the Black Witch out on the board gives you further option and further protection nonetheless. This deck offers up a lot of good capability and gives you further options as well to further board break. Now, Dramatic Snake Eye Chase. Place 1 Diabellstar monster from your hand, deck, or graveyard face up in its owner's spell and trap zone as a continuous spell. During the end phase, you can banish this card from your graveyard, target 1 monster card treated as a continuous spell you control, special summon it. So this gives you the capability to special summon any of your Angelecys that are in your back row, but also offers up a good capability of starting your Snake Eye combo by getting your Diabellstar back out into the board by summoning it from the back row. We also have a negation through Sinful Spoils of Betrayal, Silvera, which can also help by allowing us to send a Diabellstar monster from our hand or face-up field to the graveyard, then target 1 face-up card on the field negates effects. When your opponent activates a card or effect in response to a Diabellstar monster effect, or your Sinful Spoil spell or trap activation, you can banish this card from the graveyard and negate that opponent's effect. You can only use 1 Sinful Spoils of Betrayal Silvera effect per turn and only once that turn. So this is a really good negation that works very well into the deck and offers up a lot of good playability as well. Now, as that is a really good way to focus on this deck, let's go ahead and hop right in to another option here as well, to where you can incorporate White Forest into the deck to allow for further good playability and more of a fun build. All right, hopping right back into this. we're basically going into White Forest Angelechy. As we're able to utilize the White Forest cards and Diabell Star cards, we can utilize the Gaze of Timaeus to allow us to go into the Dark Magician stuff, utilizing Diabell Star, allowing us to go into Dark Magician of Destruction, Master of Chaos, or even Red Eyes Dark Dragoon to give us a further protection or option to swing over our opponent's cards and banish more monsters. It can also allow us further opportunity with the Diabell Star line to use Diabell, Queen of the White Forest, Reclia, Sinister Souls of the White Forest, and Zaylin as further negation during our opponent's turn or during our turn to set up more protection as well. With the Angelechy monsters, since we can just basically special summon one if we're utilizing our field spell, this offers up a lot of good playability here as well, but it offers up another spell we can send to utilize for White Forest combo, such as Sylvie, being able to get us Rukia being able to send the spell once we've utilized it, or if we don't need to use it anymore, to basically get a card draw. We can also use it to summon Elzette of the White Forest, but we can then add it back with Diabell, Queen of the White Forest, if we need to. Do note that since all the Angelechy monsters are light monsters, we are not locked out of that playability through Witch of the White Forest. In fact, it actually encourages us to play Witch of the White Forest because when this card is activated, you can add one White Forest monster from your deck to your hand, but you cannot special summon dark monsters from the extra deck for the rest of his turn. The first time each White Forest monster you control will be destroyed by battle, each turn it is not destroyed. You can target one White Forest monster you control. It is treated as a tuner this turn. You can only use this effect of Witch of the White Forest once per turn. You can only activate one Witch of the White Forest per turn, which is perfectly fine, gives us further opportunity, gives us further accessibility to go into plays, but it does lock us out of certain plays such as Glitch, Clutch, Null Gainer. So if you're going into that, you need to do this first before activating the Witch of the White Forest field spell. So if you're able to go into this, this allows us to get access to the Witness of the Ancient, which gives us further capability to get our Angeliches on the board a lot faster and a lot sooner, so we can start setting up more protection and more board, more capabilities to burn our opponent for even activating card effects. Now, while this deck is a lot of fun, it does offer up some good capability here as well, allowing us to go into Snake Eyes Vengeance Dragon, where during the main phase, quick effect, we can target one face-up monster on the field, or in either graveyard, place it face up in its owner's spell and trap zone as a continuous spell. Also, this card cannot use the effect next turn, or this effect next turn. During the battle phase, you can target one monster and one continuous spell on the field, destroy them. You can only use each effect of Snake Eyes Vengeance Dragon once per turn, which is perfectly fine. No worries about that, but it turns our actual Angeliches that may be dead in the back row into fodder that we can use for Snake Eyes Vengeance Dragon. Now, do note that our actual Angelechy monsters, if they are destroyed or if we need to summon them back, we do have good capability of doing that through other options as well. But we do have other cards such as Angelechy opening to E4, allowing us to place an Angelechy field spell, and if we do special summon a level 2 or 7 Angelechy monster from our extra deck to the extra monster zone, which gives us options as well to get into Destrier, which is our knight, but it also gives us access to Enlisted as well. Now, Shatrananga and Rook are too high for those levels to be summoned, but we do have the opportunities of getting them into the back row because we can make Bastion with our White Forest combo as well to allow us to summon him more normally. As we can go into a level 6 and then into our level 8 plays, we have that good capability there as well. But if we're looking towards a level 10 play, we can go into Shatranga to basically get further capability and a bigger boss monster on board as well, even if we don't want to incorporate the Diabell line. Now, is there some fallbacks to this deck? Yes, you do have to worry about the spells and traps you're utilizing and how you're utilizing the dark and lights. In all honesty, you cut the Dark Magician line if you really wanted to and fit in more of the Angelechy boss monsters and other monsters that would fit very well into this deck for the extra deck, so you're no longer dark locked, but basically you can summon monsters during your opponent's turn, but you have other options as a whole as well, to where you can further incorporate this deck as a really good option to start up a massive combo board breaking board that just makes it really hard for your opponent to really incorporate or work around, as they have to deal with either one half of the deck or the other half, because they're either going to be OTK'd by the Diabell Star stuff, or they're going to be dealing with the Angelechy stuff, which can burn them or banish a lot of their board. So they have to pay attention to how this deck works. But that's all that I have for the White Forest Angelechy. Let's hop into the final deck list, which I think a lot of you are really going to like, as it deals with one of our most infamous GX decks. So I might have been cooking a little too hard with this deck, but I took inspiration from Lithium. His deck profile for Chaos Beast or Sacred Beast, Angelechy, was really cool, and I really liked the whole idea of it. Since we can't really utilize our main deck for a lot of things, but we're not really locking ourselves out of it, why don't we utilize that to get some really good boss monsters on board to actually beat over and do some fun things with it? With this, we're utilizing the new Sacred Beast cards, such as Haman, Lord of Striking Thunder, Sacred Beast of Sinful Catastrophe, the new Martyr of the Sacred Beasts, the new Raviel, Lord of Phantasm, Sacred Beast of Endless Eternity, and Uriah, Lord of Searing Flames, Sacred Beast of Cataclysmic Fire, to allow us further capability to start swinging over our opponent and do more damage. Haman is a really good card because cannot be normal summon or set, must be special summon with the Sacred Beast card. You can reveal this card in your hand, add one Sacred Beast spell from your deck to your hand, then discard one card. You can only use this effect of Haman, Lord of Striking Thunder, Sacred Beast of Sinful Catastrophe, once per turn. Once per turn, if a monster is sent to your opponent's graveyard, inflict 1,000 damage to your opponent. If this card is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can activate this effect. You take no damage this turn. With the Martyr of Sacred Beasts, we have, if this card is normal or special summon, you can place one Sacred Beast field spell or Sacred Beast continuous spell or trap from your deck face up on your field. If you control another Sacred Beast monster, you can special summon two Martyr of the Sacred Beast from your hand, deck, or graveyard during your opponent's end phase. If this card and a level 10 Sacred Beast monster are in your graveyard, you can add this card to your hand. You can only use each effect of Martyr of the Sacred Beast once per turn. Following that up with Raviel, Lord of Phantasm, Sacred Beast of Endless Eternity. Cannot be normal summon or set, must be special summon with the Sacred Beast card. You can reveal this card in your hand, add one Sacred Beast monster from your deck to your hand, except Raviel, Lord of Phantasms, Sacred Beast of Endless Eternity. Then discard one card. You can only use this effect of Raviel, Lord of Phantasm, Sacred Beast of Endless Eternity once per turn. Once per turn, quick effect, you contribute two other Sacred Beast monsters, destroy as many monsters your opponent controls as possible, and if you do, this card gains 1,000 attack for each card destroyed by this effect, giving you further opportunity to OTK utilizing Raviel. Now, we do have Orchestrator of the Sacred Beasts, which is basically the Creator Incarnate redone. Or the Creator redone, I should say. You can reveal this card in your hand, discard one card, and if you do, special summon one Sacred Beast monster from your hand in defense position, except a level 8 monster. You can discard one card, special summon one Sacred Beast monster from your hand or graveyard in defense position, except a level 8 monster, or the discarded card. You can banish this card from your graveyard, special summon one Sacred Beast monster from your graveyard in defense position, except a level 8 monster. You can only use each effect of Orchestrator of the Sacred Beast once per turn. So this card is insanely good for the archetype, as it gives it further capability to revive one of your Sacred Beasts. But before we continue on with that, we do have one last Sacred Beast, which is Uriah, Lord of Searing Flames, Sacred Beast of Cataclysmic Fire. Cannot be normal summon or set, must be special summon with a Sacred Beast card. You can reveal this card in your hand, add one Sacred Beast trap from your deck to your hand, then discard one card. You can only use this effect of Uriah, Lord of Searing Flames, Sacred Beast of Cataclysmic Fire, once per turn. Gains 1,000 attack and defense for each trap in the graveyard. Once per turn, you can target one spell or trap on the field, destroy it. Neither player can activate cards or effects in response to this effect's activation. Insanely good for being able to pop spells and traps. Now, as for the actual field spell, we have Fallen Paradise of the Sacred Beast. Thrice per turn, you can send 3 other cards of the same type, monster, spell, or trap, from your hand or face-up field to the graveyard. Then you can special summon Sacred Beast monster from your hand, deck, or graveyard, or banishment. And if you do, it is unaffected by your opponent's activate spell or traps. If you control a Sacred Beast monster whose original level is 10, you can draw 2 cards. You can only use this effect of the Fallen Paradise as a Sacred Beast once per turn. So giving you further card draw, but also making your Sacred Beast more problematic to deal with. And since our Angelechy monsters count as continuous spells while in the spell and trap zone, that helps a lot as well. But we do have Skyfire of the Sacred Beast. During your main phase, you can place 2 Skyfire of the Sacred Beast from your hand, deck, and or graveyard face up on your field. Then you can reveal one level 10 Sacred Beast monster in your hand. Then place one Fallen Paradise of the Sacred Beast from your deck face up in your field zone. During your opponent's end phase, if this card is in your graveyard, you can add it to your hand. You can only use each effect of fire of Sacred Beast once per turn. So giving you further capability to get those bodies and cards on board to start your Sacred Beast combo. But it is a good starter because if they don't pay attention to the Sacred Beast half and they're more worried about the Angelechy half, they're going to be OTK'd by that. If they more worried about the Sacred Beast half, the Angelechy portion of the deck is going to come in and really start wrecking shop. Unleashing of the Sacred Beast is add 3 Sacred Beast monsters with different names from your deck to your hand and discard 2 cards. If this card is in your graveyard except the turn it was sent there, you can banish it, add 1 level 10 Pyro, Thunder, or Fiend monster that cannot be normal summon or set from your deck to your hand. You can only use each effect of unleashing the Sacred Beast once per turn. Great way to search up our Sacred Beast cards. Now, for those that are curious as to what this new trap does, Destruction Chant of the Sacred Beast, special summon 1 Sacred Beast monster from your hand or graveyard in defense position. Then if you control 2 or more Sacred Beast monsters whose original levels are 10, you can negate the effects of 1 face-up card your opponent controls, and if you do, destroy it. You can banish this card from your graveyard, fusion summon 1 Phantasm fusion monster from your extra deck, using monsters from your hand or field. You can only use each effective Destruction Chant of the Sacred Beast once per turn. Perfectly fine, as we're going to be utilizing the Sacred Beast as a good way to OTK, but we're also going to be utilizing the Angelechy as a good way to burn or finish off our opponent if we need to. It also is a really good board breaker capability, as we do have the banish and burn, because each of the Angelechy banish a card your opponent controls, which can really hurt them a lot if they're not paying attention to it. Now, I am running a few other cards in here, which can make it a lot more interesting, as you can utilize the Martyr as a level 1, and your Pawn as a level 2 tuner to go into Shymasin Samsara Sorokat, Delay to go into your Cupid Pitch to raise to level 7, go into your Diabell Star. You can discard a spell or trap, and then special summon a Zaylin, and that's if you're going into your opponent's turn, as a way for further negation, but also gives you Nemesis Corridor and gives you options into Thunder Dragon Colossus, which can further help there. But it also allows you to go, if you choose to go into a level 8, you can go into Glitch Clutch Null Gainer to get into your whole Witness of the Ancient to set up your whole Angelechy combo by setting 3 in the back row as well. So this gives you further capability to further break your opponent's board and set up Angelechy combo, but also set up further interactions to where your opponent can't really know what you're going to be doing, because there is a lot going on with this deck. You're either going to be playing the Sacred Beast combo, you're going to be doing the Angelechy stuff, you're going to be going into a potential board lock with Colossus and Zaylin. There's a lot of good capability here, which can really hurt your opponent. Now, the other card that I did not bring up, but is a really good card nonetheless, is Phantasmal Sacred Beast of Chaos. 3 level 10 monsters that cannot be normal summon or set. Must either be fusion summon or special summon from your extra deck by sending the above cards you control to the graveyard. You can only special summon Phantasmal Sacred Beast of Chaos once per turn this way, no matter which method you use. The first 2 times this card would be destroyed by card effect each turn, it is not destroyed. Once per chain and up and thrice per turn. Quick effect, you can target 1 face-up monster opponent controls, negate its effects until the end of this turn, then you gain life points equal to half its attack. So, that makes it insanely hard for a 5k body to be destroyed, but also the option to negate and gain life points makes it even harder for your opponent to really out your board, making it even more problematic for them to try and worry about, but also gives you further opportunity nonetheless if you are looking to really break their board and OTK them. So they either got to worry about the burn, or they're going to worry about being beat down by the Sacred Beasts. Anyways, guys, I really hope you did enjoy today's video. If you did, please feel free to leave a like and subscribe, and we'll see you all in the next one.